Holy mackerel, this is a whole lot steeper than I thought. And I don't think I'm going to come back down this. Even though I'm like halfway and it feels good, but I'm not going to come back down this. So we'll have to take the long way back. Oh, Lord Almighty, that last half was pretty steep. But it feels good. And that's where we were just at. We're right over there. Now heading this direction, we're right close to the cemetery road there. I didn't know there was a drinking fountain up here. And right now I could sure use a drink of water. But it doesn't work, and even if it did, I don't think I'd want to drink out of that. And here's what we used to call, my little brother and I, the logging road. This was, again, a trail that my brother and I built by riding bicycles up and down it, as well as where the stairs are at. Not to blow my own horn or anything, but it wasn't there before we moved in. And we just kind of decided to come up this way in our bicycles and ride down it, and it was a lot of fun. I remember one of the neighbor kids that lived down there just wiped out going down that, and wiped out and broke his arm and his collarbone. Oh, I wish I had my skateboard. I'd spend a couple of hours. No, I wouldn't. I rode a skateboard years and years ago, but no more. And one thing I wanted to point out, that over here, this was a really low area. I would imagine it went down at least 10 feet below this, the flats area. And I had, at some point, buried some money in the side of the hill. And I don't know exactly where it's at now because it all looks so different. But I had climbed up here so far, and I absolutely cannot even begin to tell where that was at. But Mom had given me I think it was right in here. I want to say it's one of those ledges right there. It was a ledge that you could walk along, and I want to say it's one of those. But they've changed it all. They bulldozed all this out, and so forth and so on. But Mom had given me an old metal Band-Aid box that you used to get, and I had put in some, like a nickel, a dime, maybe a quarter, and a bunch of pennies, and then wrapped them all up and buried it for safekeeping up there. And I don't ever remember having dug it out, so it likely is still in there, all rusted up. Okay, well, no skateboarding for me today, even though it's all ready and waiting for me. Maybe some other time. Oh, I don't know what this is for. Some kind of warm-up area, I guess. Well, goodbye flats area. Sure had a lot of fun up here as kids in the 1970s. Let's head down this way. This road is more my speed. All of these trees here are all original, especially that big one right there. We used to climb up in there. Never had a tree fort though. Alright, one last thing to look at down here where this gate is at. So this is likely going to end up being a two-part video, which I don't really like doing. But I have a lot of cuts in this where I start and stop the camera and I have to cut out boring parts. And when you try to edit all those together, it can cause problems, and I don't understand why. It's just too much, and then there'll be gaps, and you'll actually miss some of the footage and I don't understand why. So whenever I have to make a 2 or 3 part video, it's because of that, to keep it from those gaps. You know, I'm sure you've noticed it. Sometimes it'll go on to another scene, and then all of a sudden you'll see me talking, but you won't hear anything because I don't understand why. So I remember us, myself, my little brother, and my little sister, we would come up here and we would ride those old wooden train cars. They were solid blocks with wheels on them, wood, all real cheaply made, and we would ride those down the hill. It was just, I guess I'll just probably never forget it if I live to be 1,000,000 years old. We would come around the corner and then shoot down here, and it was just more fun than I could ever imagine. It must have seemed like the Indy 500 back then. It was just so much fun, and that was one of the first times, one of the early playing out here in this area that we got to do. Right, it's time to head back to the house, or back to the car. The house isn't ours anymore. All right, just going down memory lane. Some things I guess you just can never forget, and it's good when they're good things. So these houses on the other side of the road are all original. They were all built by the same person all the way down to the road. This one here is not. That was added probably about 10 years ago. That was part of the house in the front property that was divided up and sold. All right, I can't wait to get in there and drink a bunch of water, because I am really thirsty. My battery is just about dead, so that's going to be it for this little out and about here at the old homestead. Maybe someday we'll get to check out and see what it looks like inside there. Now, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Apartment building here, right on the other side of the trees, was never originally there. That was a real crummy little carport and shed area. We'll put in a picture of what it used to look like back then.